Hello. Okay, so today we're going to have a quick look on how to enable DHCP on the Juniper devices. Now, if you want to use the VMX images, then you need to have a license installed to be able to access subscriber services. So the only way that you can really practice doing DHCP is either on an SRX or on a switch, a QFX switch or an EX series switch. So what we've got here, I have a SRX right here, and I've got this connected to two different PCs, PC1 and PC2, and I have a Chrome Docker at the top. So if we want to have a look at the JWeb in another video, then we can just jump straight in with that. Okay, so let's have a look at our switch configuration, our firewall configuration first, the SRX. So let's make that a little bit bigger for you. Okay, so let's do a show configuration. Okay, so we have our web management, our SSH on there. I've disabled the security options predominantly because I'm using this as a router rather than a firewall. And we have DHCP set up on FXP0, but that's acting as a client and not a server. And we have a IP address of 192.168.100.1/24 on Giga Ethernet 000. So what we're going to do, we're going to enable DHCP server for the 192.168.100 range, and we're going to allocate it to Giga Ethernet 0, and we're going to see if we can get an IP address from that interface. So let's have a look. Let's go into configuration mode. Okay, so we need to do a couple of things here. So firstly, we're going to go into the next setting here, which is going to be the access part of the configuration. So let's do edit access. Fantastic. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go into the address assignment. So if I do set, and we have a look at the top here, we have the address assignment, which is what we're going to go into now. So set address assignment, and then what we're going to do now is going to ask us for our pool and the name of the pool. So we're going to put in our pool, and the name of our address pool is just going to be unique, so I'm just going to call it, say, C1. And then you need to tell it what family it's in. So if we do now question mark there, it will tell us that we can use family, or we can do, just put it into a particular link on its own. So family, and then we have the options of iNet and iNet6. So we're going to do iNet. And now what we're going to do, we're going to put our network in there. So you see there we have our network. So we're going to do network. And in this case, it's going to be 192.168.100.0/24. Now what we need to do, we need to put the range in. And the range also has to have a name to it. So if we do range, and we just call the range, say, R1. And if we do a question mark now, you see we have a low and a high. This is basically the start address for DHCP and the end address for DHCP that it can allocate out. So let's do a low of, and say 192.168.100.66, and we do a high of, let's say, 192.168.100.80. And that is it for this particular part of the configuration. So let's have a little look at this. So we've gone into the address assignment, as we can see there. We've named the pool C1. We've allocated the pool to the family of iNet. We've told the Juniper device that the network that DHCP is going to be running on is 192.168.100.0. We've named our range, and we've given the start address, and the end address as well for DHCP. So that's fantastic. So now what we need to do, we now need to go into the system services. So let's do a top there, and let's do edit system services, and let's do set, and what we're going to do is going to be DHCP local server. So if we do a question mark, and we have DHCP local server, that's what we're going for. So set DHCP local server, and then what we need to do, we need to give it a group. So we do a question mark here, ask for a group. Now, as you'll know with Juniper, as you're going through your studies, loads of things have groups, because you can use these groups and apply them later on in the configurations. So we're going to give it a group name. Oh, let's have a look. So we're going to give it a group. Let's choose LAN for argument's sake as the name. And what we need to do now is tell it what interface to bind it to. So there we see we have our interface. So if you want to change things like your lease times, you can do that in here as well. So you go into interface, and if you do a question mark, it only shows you the interfaces that you can pick that currently have an IP address on it, in which case this is our management IP and our Gigabit Ethernet 00. So let's choose GE, and there you go. So let's do a show. And as we can see here, we have our DHCP local server. We've named the group LAN, and we've allocated it into GE 000. Fantastic. Let's have a look at VPC1. Let's make that a bit bigger. There we go. And let's try it. Now, we've not committed it yet, so this shouldn't work. So IP DHCP. Just give that a few moments. By the time it goes to 3 discovers, and then it should fail. Won't be too much longer now. Fantastic. Okay, so let's commit this. Let's commit and quit, actually. Fantastic. All right, let's give it another bash and see what happens. There we go. There's good old Dora, and now we have the IP address 192.168.100.66, and if we do a show configuration, show configuration, then we can see a little further down that we've actually set the low as the starting point of 66. Now, within the address assignment, you can put exclusions as well if you want to exclude a particular IP address. As you know, you may have some statically assigned addresses and exclude them. But that's basically how you set up DHCP. It's not that difficult. Like anything else, it's just a matter of working your way around the different hierarchy sets on the actual Juniper device itself. So nice and easy. And if you want to add in a second pool, you can do that. But what we can do in the next video, we'll have a little look at setting up the second pool via the JWeb. Look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye for now.